They called him crazy. They tried to fire him. The streets threatened him. But one stormy night, four terrified kids banged on his classroom door. What happened next would save 1,000 lives. Before we dive in, if stories of everyday heroes inspire you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We tell true stories like this every day, stories that remind us the smallest actions can change the biggest lives. Now, let's begin. The hallway was dark. The hum of flickering fluorescent lights echoed down the corridor of Edison High School, a building long forgotten by most of the city. Graffiti whispered across the faded walls, lockers hung half-broken on rusted hinges, and the air smelled of stale fear. At the end of that hallway, room 213 glowed with soft, warm light. Inside, Ray Alvarez sat alone at his desk. In his hand was a folded note, the ink smudged with age and tears. For words, written in jagged teenage scrawl. "You kept us alive." Ray had grown up on these streets. Raised by a single mother who cleaned offices by night and boiled rice and beans by day. Poverty wasn't a story he read about. It was a language he spoke fluently. He remembered nights with no heat, days with no lunch, and a heart heavy with the weight of invisibility. School was no refuge. Ray wore second-hand clothes, 2 sizes too big, and sat in the back of class hoping no one would notice his rumbling stomach. Most teachers didn't. Most didn't see him at all. Until Miss Douglas. She was the first to look Ray in the eye and say the words that would anchor him for the rest of his life. "You are not your zip code. Your circumstances are not your destiny." Miss Douglas didn't save him with grand gestures. She stayed after school, bought him his first book, and reminded him daily that he mattered. With her help, Ray won a scholarship to a local high school, then a university. But success wasn't what called him forward. It was purpose. When Ray graduated, he didn't chase corporate jobs or high salaries. He returned to the place everyone else had fled, Edison High. "I'm going back," he told Miss Douglas. "Not to save everyone. Just to be the reason one kid stays." She smiled. "That's enough." The first day at Edison felt like walking into a war zone. The building sagged with neglect. Security cameras blinked out of service. Fights broke out near the gym. The school board called it a last stop, a dumping ground for troubled teens. But to Ray, it was sacred ground. Every chipped locker holds a story, he thought. Every desk is a life waiting to be rewritten. He made room 213 his sanctuary. Posters of Malcolm X, Maya Angelou, and Cesar Chavez lined the walls. A battered bookshelf stood proudly in the back, filled with titles he'd bought himself. Above his desk, a chipped mug read, "Change begins with one." And so, he began. Every morning, Ray stood at the door of room 213, greeting every student by name. "Morning, Devin. Good to see you, Tanya. Glad you're here, Marcus." Most ignored him at first. Some glared. But Ray didn't waver. Change never announces itself, he believed. It arrives in the smallest of moments. One rainy morning, Marcus arrived late, hoodie soaked, knuckles bruised. Ray didn't ask questions. He handed Marcus a towel and a granola bar. Marcus didn't say a word. But the next day, he came early. Ray started a journal system, one notebook for each student. No grades. No names required. Just a safe space to write anything. At first, the pages remained blank. But slowly, they began to fill. "I hate this place. My mom left last week. Sometimes I wish I didn't wake up." Ray read every word, responding quietly in the margins. "I'm here if you need me. You are not alone. Your life matters." One by one, walls began to crumble. Then came the night that would change everything. A storm rolled in, thick with thunder and cold rain. Ray stayed late, grading papers by lamplight. Suddenly, bang, bang, bang. The sound echoed through the empty hallway. Ray rose slowly and opened the door. Outside stood 4 kids, soaked, shaking, eyes wide with terror. "They jumped us," one whispered. "They said next time, it's worse." Without a word, Ray waved them in. He handed out towels, cocoa, old hoodies from the lost and found. He didn't interrogate. He didn't panic. He simply said, "You're safe here." That night, room 213 became more than a classroom. The kids talked quietly as the storm raged outside. One boy confessed he used to draw but hadn't in years. A girl whispered that she loved poetry but didn't dare write anymore. They played Monopoly by flashlight. Ray stayed up, watching over them like a lighthouse keeper. At dawn, the rain eased. Ray walked to the corner store and returned with bagels and juice. The kids ate in silence, eyes different now, not lighter, but seen. When they left, one girl hesitated at the door. "Thank you, Mr. A," she whispered. Word spread fast. By the next week, room 213 was full. Not because Ray promised easy grades, not because he tolerated nonsense, but because kids who had nowhere else to feel safe felt safe here. He didn't advertise. He didn't post rules. He showed up every day, every single day. In a storm, even one safe place can save a life, he thought. But not everyone welcomed the change. The system noticed. The streets noticed. He's too close to the kids, some whispered. He stays too late, others warned. This is a school, not a shelter, the assistant principal reminded him. Ray nodded, then kept showing up. Then came the first suspension. A girl named Tina showed up bruised and scared. She didn't speak. She just stayed after class. Ray let her sleep in room 213. Someone reported it. "It's a liability issue," the district told him. "You're not a parent." Ray replied, voice calm but firm. "If I don't care, who will?" The community fought back. Parents marched with signs. "He's the reason my kid stayed in school." Ray returned to room 213 after his suspension to find it spotless. The kids had cleaned it themselves. On the chalkboard, someone had written, "Still here, still standing." The impact rippled beyond the school. Former students began returning, engineers, nurses, teachers. One knelt beside the school steps, smiling through tears. "This place still smells like disinfectant and dreams," he joked. Another brought a plaque, "For building futures where there were none." Room 213 became more than a space. It became a movement. Above the whiteboard, students painted 3 words. "We come back." And they did. A journalist heard the story and interviewed Ray. "I didn't save them," Ray said simply. "I just didn't walk away." He turned down job offers. He declined fame. "This is my post," he told the mayor. "This is where the light needs to be." One spring morning, the school held a tribute. A banner hung across the stage. "Because of you, we still dream." Ray stood before a packed auditorium, current students, alumni, parents. He didn't speak for a long moment, just smiled, tears in his eyes. "I never wanted to be a savior," he finally said. "I just wanted to be a reason to stay, a reason to try again." Years passed. Ray's hair silvered. His steps slowed. But every morning, he still stood at the door of room 213. "Morning, Devin. Glad you're here, Tanya. Good to see you, Marcus." Some mornings, old students would visit. "You kept us alive," they'd say. And Ray would smile. "You saved yourselves." One afternoon, a young teacher named Mia knocked on his door. "I've got a student." Angry. Closed off. "Walls up," she said. "I've tried everything." Ray leaned back, eyes warm. "Don't try to fix him," he said. "Just stay. Keep showing up. He'll notice." Mia smiled. "You make it sound simple." Simple doesn't mean easy. Later that week, Ray noticed a boy sitting alone, sketchbook in his lap. He sat beside him. "You're the teacher everyone talks about," the boy said. "Did you really save 1,000 kids?" Ray shook his head. "I showed up for 1,000 kids. They saved themselves." The boy smiled and showed him his drawing, a school with wings. "I want to go somewhere," the boy whispered. "You already started," Ray replied. That night, Ray walked home through the fading light. At his apartment, he opened a blank notebook and wrote, "Legacy is not what you leave behind. It's who keeps walking because you didn't give up." He looked out at the stars, faint, flickering, stubborn, and smiled. He never wanted to be famous. He never wanted glory. He just wanted to be the reason someone stayed. And in the quiet corners of the world, that had been enough. It had been everything. Who was the teacher that changed your life? Share your story below. And if this story moved you, subscribe for more real stories of everyday heroes. Because sometimes, all it takes is one person who stays.